Introduction. Welcome to Perfect English, where we turn great books into practical lessons for both language and life. Everyone says competition makes you stronger. Peter Thiel says it makes you invisible. While others are busy fighting for the same customers, the real visionaries are quietly building something no one else has even imagined. In 0 to 1, Peter Thiel challenges everything we think we know about success, innovation, and progress. He believes that copying what already works only takes us from one to many, but creating something entirely new takes us from 0 to 1. That single leap, from nothing to something, is what defines true innovation. Peter Thiel is not just a writer. He is the co-founder of PayPal, one of the first investors in Facebook, and a thinker who sees business and technology as instruments for shaping the future. This book is not a checklist for running a company. It is a guide to thinking differently, seeing opportunities that others overlook, and daring to act on them. Thiel believes that progress is born from creation, not from competition. The most successful companies do not chase others. They open doors to worlds that no one has entered before. Google changed how we explore knowledge. Facebook reshaped how we connect. Tesla reimagined how we move through the world. For Thiel, the future is written by those who dare to imagine it long before it becomes real. If you have ever dreamed of starting a business, developing an idea, or simply thinking more creatively, 0 to 1 will open your mind to what is possible. It will show you that real progress is not about working harder within the same system. It is about questioning the system itself. In today's video, we will uncover the core lessons from 0 to 1. Why competition can be dangerous, how secrets create innovation, and what it truly means to build something that matters. Let us begin with the idea at the heart of the book, the leap from 0 to 1. Core concept. From 0 to 1. When Peter Thiel speaks about going from 0 to 1, he is not simply describing progress. He is describing creation. 0 is the state of nothingness, a blank space that exists before the first spark of an idea. 1 is the moment when something entirely new comes into being, the instant when imagination takes form and the impossible becomes real. Every step that follows may bring progress or refinement, yet it is that first moment when something new enters the world that gives birth to true creation. That single leap from nothing to something is what Thiel calls innovation. He explains that much of what we see around us is not invention but repetition. The majority of progress today is what he calls horizontal progress, which means taking what already exists and simply replicating it elsewhere. When a city opens another restaurant, or when a company releases yet another social app, it may still be progress, but it is progress without discovery. It is expansion rather than transformation. Vertical progress, on the other hand, is entirely different. It happens when someone dares to do what has never been done, when a new truth or a powerful invention changes the path of humanity. The shift from typewriters to computers, from horse-drawn carriages to electric vehicles, and from candlelight to electricity are all leaps of imagination that have forever reshaped civilization. That is what Thiel means by going from 0 to 1. He warns that society often worships competition, as though being slightly better than others were the highest goal. Yet in reality, fierce competition leaves little room for deep thinking or bold innovation. When everyone is busy trying to win the same race, no one pauses to ask whether the race itself could be reinvented. To go from 0 to 1, we must learn to see differently. We must train ourselves to look for truths that others overlook and for ideas that hide in plain sight. Thiel invites us to ask a question that he believes lies at the heart of original thinking. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? This question challenges us to think beyond the obvious, to question what others accept, and to rediscover the courage to create. Because to move from 0 to 1 is not simply to build a company. It is to shape the future itself. The power of monopoly thinking. Thiel once said something that instantly makes people stop and think. He said, "Competition is for losers." At first, it sounds shocking, maybe even arrogant. After all, we grow up being told that competition is good, that it makes us stronger, sharper, and more successful. We are taught to compete at school for grades, in sports for trophies, and in business for customers. But Thiel turns this idea upside down. He argues that competition, in reality, is overrated. When everyone is competing to do the same thing slightly better, no one has the freedom to create something truly new. In a competitive world, people focus on survival, not imagination. They look sideways at their rivals instead of looking forward at what could be built next. Thiel believes that the greatest companies in the world are not the ones that win in competition, but the ones that rise above it completely. They do not fight for a share of an existing market. They create an entirely new market of their own, one so unique that no one else can easily copy it. This is what he calls a monopoly. The word monopoly often carries a negative meaning. We tend to associate it with unfair power, greed, or control. But Thiel redefines the word in a much more creative way. He calls it a creative monopoly, a business that achieves dominance not by crushing others but by inventing something so new and valuable that it simply has no competition. Think about Google. When it appeared, there were already search engines like Yahoo and AltaVista. But Google was not just another option. It transformed how we find information altogether. It made searching so fast, so accurate, and so intuitive that no one could compete on the same level. Or consider Facebook. It did not try to improve existing platforms. It created a new digital space for connection, a network that made people feel they belonged to a living, breathing community. And then there is Tesla. When most car companies were arguing about price and fuel efficiency, Tesla rewrote the story. Rather than competing within existing limits, it gave birth to a new class of car that made electric driving something people could dream about. All these companies share something in common. They were not obsessed with beating others. They were obsessed with building something that had never existed before. Their success did not come from fighting for attention. It came from focusing deeply on their own vision until the world could no longer ignore it. Thiel believes that healthy monopolies are good for society because they have room to think long-term. They can take risks, invest in research, and imagine the next frontier instead of fighting for small, short-term victories. When companies are trapped in competition, they are forced to cut prices, mimic trends, and survive one quarter at a time. But when a company becomes a creative monopoly, it can focus on quality, on innovation, and on shaping the future. In Thiel's view, competition makes people predictable, while monopoly frees them to be original. Competition is like a narrow road where everyone runs in the same direction, hoping to get slightly ahead. Monopoly, by contrast, is like stepping off that road entirely and finding a path that only you can see. This idea does not apply only to business. It applies to your life, to your creativity, your work, and the purpose that drives you. If you spend your life competing, you are constantly reacting to others. But if you choose to create, you begin to define your own space in the world. Being a creative monopolist does not mean you have to be the next Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. It simply means discovering what makes you truly unique and building something around it. Whether it is an idea, a skill, or a project that only you can bring to life. Thiel reminds us that the future is not built by those who compete endlessly, but by those who dare to step away from competition altogether. The goal is not to fight harder. The goal is to think deeper, build smarter, and create something that stands alone. Because in the end, as Thiel says, competition belongs to the past, but creation always belongs to the future. Secrets and the value of unique knowledge. Thiel believes that every great company begins with a secret. Not a secret in the mysterious or magical sense, but a truth that most people have not yet noticed. He reminds us that the world still holds many secrets, but only those who truly believe they exist will ever find them. Most people, Thiel says, have stopped looking. They assume that everything worth knowing has already been discovered, that every mystery has been solved, and that all the good ideas are already taken. They see the world as complete, as if the frontier of innovation has closed forever. Thiel disagrees. He believes this way of thinking quietly kills creativity. Our world is still filled with unseen truths, ideas waiting for someone brave enough to bring them into the light. The explorers of tomorrow are not those who travel to distant lands, but those who venture into the uncharted territories of thought. Thiel describes two kinds of secrets. The first are secrets of nature. These are scientific or technological discoveries that reveal new ways of producing clean energy, curing diseases, or uncovering the mysteries of the universe. They are found by people who push the boundaries of what is physically possible. The second kind are human secrets. These are insights into the way people think, feel, and live, truths about human behavior and emotion that remain invisible to most. For example, when Airbnb began, most investors laughed at the idea. Who would ever invite strangers to sleep in their homes? But the founders saw something deeper. They understood that people value connection and trust even more than comfort or luxury. That insight became their secret and the foundation of their success. Thiel encourages everyone to search for their own version of that insight. He offers a question that sounds simple but holds great power. What do I believe that no one else does? It is a question that pulls you away from conventional thinking and pushes you toward discovery. It invites you to see the world not as it is, but as it could be. Finding a secret is only the beginning. The real challenge is what comes next, turning that hidden truth into something real. That is what great entrepreneurs do. They take unseen knowledge and transform it into reality. They give shape to what was once invisible. Thiel asks us to imagine secrets as treasures buried in plain sight. Most people walk past them every day, distracted by noise, imitation, and the comfort of doing what everyone else does. But those who slow down, who think deeply and independently, are able to see what others overlook. They are the ones who find the treasure and then use it to build something meaningful. In the end, Thiel's message about secrets is really a message about courage. It takes courage to believe that something new is still possible, to go against the tide, and to act on an idea before anyone else sees its value. That courage is what transforms vision into creation. It is the quiet force behind every great invention, every bold idea, and every leap from 0 to 1. Building a startup that matters. Once you begin to understand the power of secrets, a new question naturally arises. How do you take that secret and turn it into something real, something that lasts? Peter Thiel believes that starting a company is not simply about making money. It is about solving a problem that truly matters. Great companies do not just fill gaps in the market. They create entirely new markets, places that did not exist before their arrival. To explain how this happens, Thiel introduces what he calls the 7 questions that every business must answer. These questions serve as a kind of test, a way to measure whether an idea is built on vision or merely on enthusiasm. If your startup can answer all of them clearly, confidently, and truthfully, you have the foundation for something remarkable. The first is the engineering question. Can you create a breakthrough technology instead of just making a small improvement? A company must aim to be 10 times better, not 10% better. The world does not need another social app, another clothing brand, or another coffee chain. It needs something that redefines how people live, work, or think. The second is the timing question. Why now? A brilliant idea launched at the wrong time can still fail. Some ideas are ahead of their era, while others arrive too late. Success depends not only on innovation but also on recognizing when the world is ready to accept change. The third is the monopoly question. Can you begin with a small market and dominate it completely before expanding? Amazon began by selling books. Facebook began by connecting university students. The greatest companies start small but master their niche so completely that no one else can compete. Only after building this strong foundation do they expand outward to reshape entire industries. Then comes the people question. Do you have the right team? Thiel compares a great company to a finely tuned orchestra. Every person must play their part in harmony with the others. Talent is essential, but shared purpose is what holds everything together. A company without alignment, no matter how gifted its members, eventually falls out of rhythm. The fifth is the distribution question. How will you deliver your product or service to the world? Many startups fail not because the idea is bad, but because nobody ever hears about it. A brilliant product without distribution is like a song never played or a light hidden under a curtain. It must reach people, and it must reach them at the right time and in the right way. The sixth is the durability question. Will your company still exist in 10 or 20 years? True innovation is not about a short burst of fame or a lucky moment of success. It is about building something strong enough to endure, something that continues to grow and evolve long after the first excitement has faded. And finally, there is the secret question. What unique truth have you discovered that others have missed? This question brings everything together. It is the soul of the business, the source of its originality and power. It is the answer that separates imitation from creation. When a company can answer these 7 questions with honesty and strength, it is no longer simply a startup. It becomes a force that moves the world forward. It becomes a company that builds the future not by luck or chance, but by clarity, courage, and conviction. In Thiel's eyes, this is what it truly means to move from 0 to 1. It is the art of transforming a single idea into something that changes how we live. Every great company begins with a secret, but it endures because someone cared enough to turn that secret into reality. The role of the founder. Behind every great company stands a founder, a person who dares to imagine something that does not yet exist. Thiel describes founders as the architects of new realities. They are not just managers or leaders. They are creators of meaning, vision, and direction. A true founder sees what others cannot see. They live in the future before anyone else arrives there. Their ideas often seem impossible at first, yet they believe in them so completely that they pull others into their vision. Thiel calls this the founder paradox. The very qualities that make founders appear unusual or even eccentric are the same qualities that allow them to change the world. Founders are often stubborn. They can be idealistic, uncompromising, and relentless. But it is precisely this intensity that allows them to overcome the doubt and resistance that stop most people. They do not seek comfort in consensus. They trust their insight more than the approval of others. Thiel believes that great founders share one essential trait. They are definite optimists. They do not sit back and hope that the future will somehow improve on its own. They plan for it, they design it, and they take deliberate steps toward it. He contrasts definite optimism with its opposite, indefinite optimism. An indefinite optimist believes that the future will be better but has no clear plan for how to achieve it. A definite optimist believes that the future can be built through intention, effort, and imagination. They are guided by purpose rather than chance. Thiel insists that this mindset is what separates visionaries from dreamers. Visionaries act. They turn their beliefs into plans and their plans into reality. They treat time not as something to be filled, but as a tool for creation. The influence of a founder extends far beyond the product or service they create. A founder's personality becomes the culture of the company. Their values shape the habits, language, and rhythm of the people who work there. When a founder is clear, disciplined, and inspired, that spirit flows through the entire organization. When a founder loses direction, the company loses its heartbeat. For Thiel, the founder is not just a person at the beginning of a story. They are the soul of that story. They set the tone, they define the mission, and they remind everyone why the work matters. Their clarity gives others courage, and their faith gives others focus. The role of the founder, Thiel says, is not simply to build a business. It is to bring a vision into the world that would not exist without them. A true founder is both dreamer and builder, philosopher and engineer, artist and leader. They hold a map that others cannot see, and through persistence and faith, they make it real. In this sense, the founder embodies the spirit of moving from 0 to 1. They start with nothing but an idea, and through courage and conviction, they give it form. They show that progress begins not with competition or imitation, but with imagination made real. The future and technological progress. Peter Thiel believes that the future is not something that simply arrives on its own. It is something we must build. He often reminds us that the world does not automatically improve with time. Progress depends on people who are willing to imagine what does not yet exist and to work toward making it real. Thiel argues that we live in an age that celebrates technology yet often lacks true innovation. We have incredible tools, but we use them mostly to improve what already exists instead of creating something entirely new. He calls this quiet stagnation, a hidden stillness beneath the noise of constant change. During the 20th century, humanity made extraordinary leaps forward. We split the atom, explored the skies, landed on the moon, and unlocked the mysteries of computing. Each discovery opened a new horizon. Yet, in the 21st century, Thiel observes something different. The pace of visible innovation has slowed. Our phones get faster, our screens get clearer, and our apps multiply endlessly, but the great leaps of imagination that once defined progress have become rare. Thiel does not say this with cynicism. He says it as a call to courage. He believes that true technological progress begins with vision, with people who are not content to accept the world as it is. Technology, in his eyes, is not simply a collection of gadgets or machines. It is the physical expression of human imagination. It is the bridge between what we dream and what we can touch. He also makes an important distinction between progress in bits and progress in atoms. Progress in bits refers to the digital world of software, algorithms, and data. Progress in atoms refers to the physical world, to the things we can hold in our hands and build with our tools. Thiel believes that society has become too focused on bits and has forgotten the atoms. We are content to create virtual experiences while neglecting the physical innovations that shape daily life. He reminds us that we still need the dreamers who build bridges, design engines, and explore distant planets. We need the makers, the engineers, and the scientists who bring imagination into the material world. To move from 0 to 1 is to see the world not as a closed book but as a blank page still waiting to be written upon. It is to recognize that the future is open to those who are brave enough to design it. Thiel believes that every new technology begins as a story someone tells themselves about what could be. Those who hold on to that story, who keep refining it and believing in it, become the builders of tomorrow. He urges us to think longer, to plan further, and to dream in decades instead of moments. A society that lives only for the next update or the next quarter cannot build a lasting future. But a society that values creation over reaction can move mountains. For Thiel, the measure of progress is not how fast we move but how deeply we think about where we are going. He invites us to slow down, to look ahead, and to ask the larger questions. What kind of future are we building? What kind of world will we leave behind? And are we still daring enough to believe that something extraordinary is possible? Thiel's vision is both a challenge and an invitation. It is a challenge to those who take progress for granted, and an invitation to those who still believe in the power of human imagination. Because the future, he reminds us, belongs not to those who wait for it to happen, but to those who begin to build it now. Lessons for viewers. How to apply 0 to 1. So how can we take the lessons from 0 to 1 and apply them to our own lives? Peter Thiel's ideas are not only for entrepreneurs. They are for anyone who wants to live creatively, think independently, and make a difference in the world. The first lesson is to stop competing and start creating. When you compete, your attention is fixed on others. You copy their ideas, compare your results, and lose sight of what makes you unique. But when you create, you bring something original into existence. You shape your own path and contribute something that only you can offer. The second lesson is to look for secrets. Ask yourself what you see that others do not. It could be an opportunity in your community, a new way to learn, or a simple improvement that no one has noticed yet. Innovation does not always mean technology. Sometimes it is simply a better way of doing something ordinary. The third lesson is to think long-term. Do not chase quick wins or instant success. True value takes time. A company, a skill, or even a dream grows strong only through patience and consistency. Every meaningful creation begins small and matures through persistence. And finally, believe in definite optimism. Do not place your hope in a future that changes by itself. Shape it with intention and purpose. Set a direction for your life and take deliberate steps toward it. Whether you are building a business, learning English, or designing your own future, remember what Thiel teaches. Progress begins with vision. When you dare to think differently, you become part of the small group of people who push humanity forward. That is what it means to go from 0 to 1. Dare to create the future. Peter Thiel reminds us that progress is never an accident. It begins with one person who chooses to see the world differently and has the courage to act on that vision. Every leap in human history, from the discovery of electricity to the birth of the Internet, began not with competition but with courage. 0 to 1 is not a manual on business. It is a meditation on creation, a reminder that the most valuable things in the world come from ideas that no one else can yet see. It invites us to look beyond imitation and the noise of comparison, and to discover the quiet truths that only original minds can find. What we have explored here is only the beginning. In the book, Thiel goes much deeper, describing the difference between horizontal progress and true breakthroughs, questioning how education shapes imitation, and asking one powerful question. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? If that question stays with you, read the book. Let it challenge the way you think and perhaps the way you see your own future. The future does not simply arrive, it is built. It begins with one idea, one act of faith, and the courage to begin. Thank you for watching Perfect English, where we turn great books into practical lessons for language, for thought, and for life. If this summary inspired you, share it with someone who loves learning, and subscribe for more ideas that expand your mind and your world. As Peter Thiel writes, brilliant thinking is rare, but courage is in even shorter supply than genius. So think bravely, speak clearly, and keep creating the future, one idea at a time.